Joshua Ritter, defense attorney, former prosecutor, and Fox News contributor, to get his take on this. So really the two issues, Joshua, thank you very much, first of all, for being here. It's good to see you.
Absolutely.
So let's take a look at his decision first on the attire and then on the restraints. It seems as though we now know why every time we've had one of these hearings, he does not appear on camera, because the judge decided not to put him on camera. We just hear his voice until this decision was metered out. Talk to us a little bit about the clothing issue and what you heard here from the court.
I think we're learning a lot about this judge. He's very by the book. He's not going to do anything outside of the rules. You know, a lot of judges would have heard these arguments in court today and made decisions. He wants briefing on everything. He wants them to put on paper their arguments. And when it came down to these issues on the clothing and the restraints, I think we're also getting a foreshadowing of how this judge will handle most of the defense moving forward, and that he's going to give them a lot of deference. And that's not surprising, because this is a death penalty case, and I think he wants to make sure he doesn't do anything that it appears as though it's somehow compromising the defendant's ability to put on a defense. So even if that comes down to photographs of him in court, he wants to make sure that none of that shows him in restraints, none of that shows him in prison attire, so that it can't even have the argument later on of potentially having influenced a potential jury.
You know, a couple things strike me in that. One is that this is a potential death penalty case, and the defense in this case is up against a mountain of evidence. And let's just remind people a little bit of this. These are the text messages between Kirk and his roommate, who was also his lover. He says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" The roommate, "I am. I'm sorry." Next, "Why? Why did I do it?" says Robinson. "Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Then Robinson says, and this goes to one of the other charges in this case, "Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. And the feds released a photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now. I'm not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA." And in the note inside his apartment, he said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." Then you have DNA matches and the rest. Is this defense, Joshua, are they trying to mitigate the possibility for death in this case at this stage because they see how stacked up this evidence is in this case?
No, I think that's their strategy, absolutely. From the very beginning, I think they view this case as their attempt to save his life. You outlined just a small part of the evidence against him. I don't think they're going into this thinking that somehow they're going to come out with an acquittal. They're going to defend the case, I'm sure, but I think they're always with the mindset on that they will probably be defending him in a penalty phase of this case as well. And it's interesting, too, because even early on, we learn a little bit about the defense and these motions that they brought concerning his clothing, because it shows that, one, they're looking toward trial. There's no contemplation of this thing, I think, at this point, settling. And two, they're very conscientious of the media attention. They're very conscientious of the idea that the nation is watching, and they want to make sure that the way he presents in court is a way that, is adoptive of that presumption of innocence. So, yeah, I think they're totally looking at this case as how do they defend him against the death penalty and not so much against guilt.
And also, just one other quick point. If they ask the judge to allow him to appear in street clothing and not to have the shackles seen, and the judge were to say, "No, we're not doing that. We're going to go all prison garb and everyone's going to see the shackles," would that have potentially opened a door for them saying, this jury was tainted from the beginning?
Yeah, any time you have a death penalty verdict, it's automatically going to go up on appeal. And you can imagine every single argument they can make, they're going to bring up on appeal. And so these small things to us right now, whether or not he wears prison clothing or not in court, could be a big issue on appeal, because, to your point, they could start to establish the idea that this judge was against them from the beginning.
Right. Josh Ritter, thank you very much. We're going to be following this very closely. The judge just said January 16th and January 30th are the next hearings in this case, and I'm sure you'll be with us. We hope you will, to cover those. Thank you, Josh.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.